Hi class, this is Jill Mack, and this is a training video for advanced web development. Students know that they can find information out on my website, jillmack.com, and click on training. And if they need to call me, they can give me a call at 802-254-8628. Okay, so what I'm going over today is assignments. When you get an assignment, it comes up in Canvas, and today we're going to be working on assignment 2. So when you click on the assignment 2 link, it opens it up and it tells you to go out to assignment 2. When we click this, we're going to go out to the web page where my assignments are available 24/7, and they're available all the time. So this is assignment 2. And one of the reasons I put all of the work instead of in Canvas, I put on my own website, is that Canvas is only available while you are taking the class. After you take the class, you no longer have access to Canvas. You no longer have access to any of the work that the teacher put out there, or any of your answers, or any of that. When it's on my website, you're able to access it forever. I mean, students can go back and see what I put in for a previous class, or you can look at it. So anyways, that's the reason I do it. When we go down to assignment 2, we have our research assignment, which is, in this case, is Notepad. It's looking for editors. So we're looking at editors this week. Editors that you're going to see me use are Notepad++, and I use that a lot because it's very simple. The screen is very clear. It's easy to see on the recordings. But Sublime Text, but Notepad is only available for Windows machines. Sublime Text is available for both Windows and Macs. And Eclipse is a very common open source IDE integrated development environment. I don't use this as much because it takes a long time to learn, but it is one of the ones that is popular. However, if you're going to be a programmer at a particular shop, they're going to have their integrated development environment, and that's what you're going to need to use when you're with them. I want you to read about WordPress, because WordPress has editors within WordPress, and we're going to be looking at WordPress because it uses PHP and MySQL, and it's a full system. And then when you have done your research, you're going to create a page, and then you're going to put a link to that out on Canvas, and that's what I want to show you today. So the editors that we're using, that I'm going to be using, is Notepad. So I have it pulled up here. Once you install it, you can just open it up when you want to. When we go down into the coding, so I call this before and after, and I'll be showing you why. I want you to grab some code and use that as your before example. I don't want you to make any changes to it, except minor changes to get it to run on our server. That's your before example. That's before you change any code. I want to make sure that that example runs on your system and it runs the way you're expecting it. Once you have it running, then you can modify it. I don't want you to modify that copy of it. I want you to make a copy and modify the copy, and that is going to be your after. So for each example, I want you to have a before and an after, and I'll be showing that to you. So in this assignment, we're going out and we're learning about it from W3 Schools. So we're going to go out and look at PHP variables. So if I were to open this in a new link, I'll go out to that link, and here we are at W3 Schools. We have, you looked at the intro, and if you wanted to put PHP on your local machine, you could. We do that for lots of other classes. You do that for your Java class. You do that for Python class. But for this class, because we're on the web, we have our own shared web host, I'm expecting you to put all of the work on the server. I want to see you working on the server. I want you to get used to using a real server. And so you don't really need to install PHP, but you're free to if you want. in this one, we're looking at PHP exam variables. I had used the hello world, and I had used some others, but I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to look at an example that does some math. Let's do some math ones. So here's a variable, here's an example that does some math. So we have this PHP code. Okay, so I'm going to copy this PHP code, and I'm going to paste it over into my Notepad. Now Notepad doesn't give us any color coding because it doesn't know what kind of a file it is. It could just be a text file. It isn't until you save it, File, Save As, and I'm going to be putting it out in my advanced web development, and I'm wanting it to go into my assignment 2. So I'll open that folder, and I'll call this file PHP, and this is a global, and I'll call this my before. Now I have to do it as a PHP file because it has PHP code in it. If I did it as an HTML file, I'll show you that a little later, the PHP wouldn't run. So I'm going to save this, and now as soon as I've saved it as a PHP file, the color coding is now PHP color coding. So one of the nice things about W3 Schools is that you can do a try it yourself. So when we click on try it ourselves, here's our code over on the left hand side, and when we click it, it's going to run it. Now it happens to run it, let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see this. It happens to run it because the variable x is 5. But if I made the variable x to be 8 and the variable y to be 9, and I run it, now this comes up as 17. So instead of it being my text or echoing this, I'm also going to have it echo, I'll just have it echo here because this is my after. Jill Mac example 1, assignment 2. Let's see if that runs. So now we're going to run it, and I get a parsing error because it's expecting not this quote but a different quote. So let me go back, change my quotes, and let's see if I can run it now. No, it's still not looking for. So it's looking for a T string, and it's expecting a comma in here, an or an in. So I'm not doing the text right. So let's just comment this out, because we'll grab another example to find out how you just echo regular text. And now when I run it, it runs fine. So here we can have this. So this can be my after example. So I'm going to block copy this because I've made some changes. And I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go over into Notepad. I'm going to say File. No, I'm just going to say in Notepad I can just go over and say I want a new one, which is this little icon with a plus here. And I'm going to paste this in. And now I'm going to save this because right now, once again, it's just black. It doesn't have any color coding until I save it as a PHP file. I have to tell it, is it HTML? Is it CSS? Is it JavaScript? Is it PHP? What is the language so that it knows how to color code it? So as soon as I say File, Save As, and I'm going to name this the same as the other, which is PHP global after.php. So PHP. So the name is the same, and I'll show you why that makes it a little bit easier. So here I have this, and we have our after example. So now I'm going to get out of the try it, and I'm going to go back and look for the echo print, which is the next one, and that'll show us the syntax. So here, if I want to just echo something, I can use this piece of code. Now I'm going to go back to my example that didn't work, and instead of it being, I'll just paste it underneath. So I really need to have that echo, and I can say Jill Mac. So it wasn't the quotes that was wrong. It was that I didn't have the semicolon after it. And now I'm going to echo example 1, assignment 2, and that'll be enough. So I'm going to say File, Save As, save it. Now if I wanted to test it, that's the after, yes. If I wanted to test it, I can block copy it, and then in the try it yourself, because this is already PHP, I can just paste it in here. So here I have this. If I want to click run, I have a parse error, so it's not quite running correctly yet. Let me just... So anyways, so it's giving me a parse error, and that is not the correct. And you can see that it's also not color coding it nicely the way I would expect it to. Let me just check. And I did I do the variable one? Yeah. And if I go down in here to where it was, I think it was this one. No, it wasn't that one. It was this one. Try it yourself. And I paste it in there. And I run it. It doesn't look like it has the right color coding there either. Oh, duh. There it is. Let's see if that does it. Okay. I had the wrong quote. And now you can see that it's also kind of crammed it in there. So if I wanted to, I could put some spaces in here and run it again. Okay. And now this is correct, so I'm just going to copy this. Now I've got it running the way I want it to, and I'm going to put it in here and say V, and then I'm going to save it again, File, Save As, and I'm just going to call this 2. It's not letting me overwrite it on my computer. I'm not sure why. We'll figure that out later. All right. So we have our 2 examples. Now I want to upload them to the server. So I'm going to go to classweb.ccv.edu, and because I've already set this up, it automatically logs me in and brings me up to Centura. When I click on ELF File Manager, I am already in my AdvWebDev directory. I have assignment 2 pulled up. I'm going to upload those 2 files. So I'm going to go to the icon that selects files to be uploaded. I'm going to go to my directory where my files are, into Advanced Web Development for assignment 2, and here I have my before example and my after example. So I'm going to select both of those and I'm going to open them up. I could have also dragged them. So I bring them up now. I want to just rename this one. I don't want it to say after. So I'm just going to rename that file and get rid of that 2. Okay, so now I have my before and after example. Okay, so how do I add this to my website? So I'm just going to go into our class again. This is our class. This is where assignments are, down on this left, navigation, advanced web development assignments. And I also have advanced web development students. So for each of us, I have a link. This will bring me out to show me the how someone views my website. So here I'm using this menu system that I went over in a previous video. I'm going to assignments and I'm going to go to assignment 2. Now in assignment 2, and I got those assignments from this pull down menu. In assignments 2, I have everything already set up. It's in a file in the advanced web dev. It's called Assign02 PHP. And I have my first link, which goes out to where I got my before example. So you can either post, this is where I got my before example, or you can do your before code. It doesn't matter which link you give me for the before, as long as I know where you got it. And my after example was what it looks like after. So in the second example, it shows the same thing. I mean, it's the same link. So all I want to do is I want to put my new file here from my before and after. So I'm going to go into Centora, and I'm going to go back to this advanced web dev. And one of the nice things about having a real shared web host and a real menu system for us to use on it, and we're using Centora, is that I can edit right from the server. So the page that I want to go to edit is Assign02 PHP in the AD. So when I go there, nope. Okay, I'm in Centora. So I want to go to this Assign2. And when I click on it, I want to right click it, and what I want to do is I want to edit this file. So I edit this file. Now, I could certainly edit it, but I could edit it from Notepad++ and then just re-upload it if I wanted to, and maybe it'll be easiest if I do that, just to show you what I'm doing. But I'll also, so I'm going to get a new file and put this code here, and I have to save it as the file name assign2.php. File, save as ASS, oops, not capital ASSIGN 02.php. So now it's all color-coded. And what I want to do is I want to change this link in my before and after example from W3 Schools PHP syntax to where my actual file is. And my actual file is going to be out on Class Web, Advanced Web Dev, Assignment 2, but it's not going to be this, but I'll just copy that and I'll paste it in here. Being careful of my quotes. Okay, I'm going to need that quote in there. But it's not going to be PHP syntax comments. It's going to be what I had in Notepad++. Oops. Sorry. It's going to be this file name right here. It's going to be this file right here, PHP Global Before. So I'm going to go back here and put in, just cut and paste it to this link. So this is the before example. And I like to display the same URL rather than having it say here, but that's kind of a personal thing. I always like to see the real URL. So this is my before and this is my after. And now I can just go to the after example, paste that in, but instead of it being before, it's just going to say after. And I can copy that one and paste it again. Okay, so this is my before and after, and it shows you that we go out to mine on classweb.ccv in my AdvWebDev in Assign02 folder, and these are the files that I'm pulling. So now I'm going to save this as file, save as, and I will put it in this directory, Assign02 save, and now I'm going to go and upload that again. So now I could also have edited it right here, but it's easier to show you in Notepad++. So now I'm going to go back to my file. I'll go back home. I'll go into Elf Manager again, and I want to upload that file into my AdvWebDev. So I'm just going to upload the file that's in AdvWebDev that I just uploaded. If I click on this, I see I can sort it by date, time. So we have a file named already. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I do. So now when I go back to this page out on the server and I control F5 to refresh, I now see that I have my before example and my after example. So here's my before example where it says 15, and here's my after example where it says Jill Mac example 1, assignment 2, and the answer is now 17. One other thing I want to show you, a lot of times when we were doing just HTML and CSS and JavaScript, we could go and we could look at more tools and go into the developer tools, and we could view the code. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger for us. It doesn't really make this bigger. It only makes the output bigger. We could do a view source, and we could physically see what the code looked like. But this only works for HTML, CSS, XML files that we'll be learning about later on, JavaScript. You can't see PHP code. We know that what this file looks like, the after file, is it looks like this. Let me shrink this up a little bit so you can see it side by side. We know the actual code looks like this. It has PHP statements in it. But when we do a view source down on the client side, we don't see the PHP code. Why? Because editors, because browsers can't read PHP, can't read any server-side language, can't read PHP or Python or C++ or Java. Those are server-side languages. Server-side languages can't be viewed on a browser. Only client-side. And client-side is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Why? Why can only those languages be viewed in a browser and not server-side languages? Well, one, it was created that way. That's for security. And the other is that browsers weren't made to read those languages. If they were, you could look at your PHP and you could find passwords and all kinds of things that we're going to be learning as soon as we get into working with databases. So I just want you to know that when you do a view source on a page, you're not going to see any server-side language. You're only going to see the client side. You're only going to see HTML, CSS, pictures, that kind of stuff. So now that we have that out, how do we post it? What is Jill Mac looking for what am I looking for on Canvas? So I want to go to this. And if this is assignment 2, this is all I need. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into my Canvas. I'm going to reply. You can't really see the reply because I'm in edit mode. But all I'm going to post is I'm just going to post my link. So if I go into settings, I can do this and go into student view. I'll look at my student view in assignment 2. Let's go down to assignment 2. Oh, I can't. So I'll just post it to assignment 1. Suppose we were doing assignment 1. And what do you want in assignment 1? I'm going to hit reply. And I'll just say, here is my assignment 2. And I'm just going to post the link. And that's all you need. Because I want all of the work and all of your concentration not to be put into Canvas, because you'll do that in your English and history and different classes. I want you to be concentrating on what we're learning, which is the server side. So students know if they have any questions, they can give me a call and I'll go over it. Anyways, have a great day. Thank you so much.